All right, we can go ahead and get started. Before I do start, I just want to announce that one of our agents, Miriam, who is on the call today, has an open house availability for a home this Saturday from 12 to 3. So I am going to email that out, but if you want to text her, she is at 682-552-7227. If you want to hold a home open this Saturday.
Yes, thank you, Brett.
You bet, you bet, you bet. All right, so I am gonna share my screen real quick. I appreciate y'all coming today. So today's session is going to be on listings and really the top 3 ways to find listings in a inventory scarce market. So I think the good news is that as we kind of get closer into spring and the warmer weather, people do tend to list their homes more. I'm myself starting to see more listings on the MLS, along with more postings on social media for folks that are listing. So there will be a little bit more inventory in the next couple of months, but let's not let that stop us from actually going out and getting some as well. So today I'm going to focus on the top 3 with maybe a couple of extra bonus sources thrown in there as well. So the first is for sale by owners. So I am not going to review expireds today because I think that is really low-hanging fruit. I think expireds are a great source to get listings, but I have done an entire video on expireds and have material on our website to go after expired. So the FSBO presentation I also did several weeks ago, maybe a couple of months ago now. So I'm going to breeze through some of this stuff, but I think FSBO'S are still a great source to get listings, only because they have got to just be tearing their hair out with the amount of folks wanting to see their home. So the difference between an expired listing and a FSBO is expireds have already raised their hand and made the decision to hire a realtor. A FSBO has not, obviously, and they still need some convincing. So the for sale by owner mindset, it's really all about price and expense with them, right? So setting the right price for their home and cutting costs on their side by not having to pay at least one side of the commission. But isn't it really about realizing our value as realtors? All right, so they don't want to pay for something that they don't see value in, or like everybody, they want to cut corners. And so why go after these guys? Well, they're motivated and easy to find. They can often be misinformed, and so you can become the expert for them real fast. I think they're very accessible. They all have a sign in the yard with their phone number, and it's traditionally a cell phone number, which makes it very easy to market to them. 85% of these guys eventually do end up listing with an agent. And I would suspect that number is going to grow just because of the frenzy of buyers out there. All right, so what are they missing out on by not using us? Well, mass distribution, right? So they're literally relying on a handful of people who drive by their home to see their sign. Incorrect price, because Texas is a non-disclosure state, and so they are going to have no access to what a home actually sold for. They are literally using a Zestimate from Zillow. They have to coordinate showings, which I think is the biggest headache going on probably right now. They're not doing open houses, and they have no contract knowledge, so they become exposed legally. And then there is an inverse relationship between their learning curve and the interest that is lost as time passes. So as we probably know, the first 2 weeks are critical when listing a home. And as they're trying to figure it out and navigate through this process, they may have to lower their price or tweak their process. And all of a sudden, 2 weeks, 3 weeks has gone by and their listing becomes stale. And so how to find them? Begin driving your own neighborhood within a mile radius, right? So by default, you will become that market expert. Zillow, and we're going to go look at Zillow in a second, and I'm going to show you where to find them. Craigslist, and then forsalebyowner.com. So I want to show you Zillow. So this is what the customer sees when they sign in. And if you're a buyer, you're going to go to buy, and you're going to see for sale by owner. All right, and so let's say I'm looking in Arlington. Okay, so if you look at this, you will see something absolutely astounding. 42 days on Zillow, 238 days on Zillow, 72 days on Zillow, 33 days, price cut, $45,000. I mean, for those of us that are actually out there doing this, this is unheard of, right? So this is proof that they have no idea what they're doing. There is no reason for a home in this market at 225 to sit on the market for 42 days, right? So it's obviously priced incorrectly, or something's going on to where it's just not being handled correctly, okay? So what you would do is you would come here and then reach out to these guys as leads, okay? And this is just what's in Arlington. I mean, expand your search out, Fort Worth, some of the bigger metropolitan areas. You're not going to run out of people to call, okay? So do not, hang on. Don't underestimate the power of Zillow. All right, hang on. Okay, so what you want to accomplish with a FSBO, you want to prove your value by subtly impressing them, right? And it's, you know, not everything is going to mean the same thing to each FSBO. They may have the showing process nailed down, so that's not where you're going to prove value. It might be in pricing or the contract process or whatever. Build a trusting relationship. And then they need to believe they can get this, they can't get this done without you. And of course, you're trying to list the home, or you're trying to get a referral from them if they still want to list on their own. Okay, so they're not going to know who you are unless you reach out, obviously. And, you know, your batting average is probably going to be 50% on who actually decides to talk to you and who doesn't. So, but the more people you get in front of, obviously, the better. All right, so the resources that you can use in this arena, so their phone number, again, it's going to be on that sign. It is a great way to be able to communicate. Video text, text message, obviously a call. RPR, so Realtor Property Resource, another great resource for you because it does interface with the MLS and has sold data. So if you print out a property report for that particular client, those numbers in that range is likely going to be a lot different than what they're listing the house for. All right, so Texas Association of Realtor Resources, plenty of things to choose from there, marketing wise. Obviously running the comps, note cards, and then coming soons and open houses in the area. So if one of your clients happens to be any one of those that we looked on Zillow, they are going to want to know about coming soons and open houses, and why is my home sitting on the market for 42 days and my neighbors' homes seem to be flying off the market. All right, so I did go through in my presentation a typical interaction on interaction 1. I'm not going to go through that right now. You can go back and look at the video. But in terms of follow-up, you can do some of these things. There is a Why Use a Realtor one-pager in our forms, in zip forms. Ask for the business directly. You can leave a vendor guide with them in case they need to do any improvements. Lender info in case they are looking to go buy a home after they sell this home. So obviously any little ways that you can provide value and be helpful. CMAs, notes, and then area open houses that they might want to attend, which I think is a great exercise. I used to do this just with listing clients in general because it helps them understand what's on the market now and what they're selling for. And they're going to start comparing. So final thoughts on FSBO'S. You can do a limited time listing, which means that if they are somewhat on the fence, you might offer to list the home for a month. And if it's, if the current market is any indication, you won't need a month. It'll fly off the market within a day or two. But you can do a limited time listing. So instead of doing the normal 3-6 months, just say, well, why don't you try me out for a month and see how it goes. You could charge a flat fee. So as always, y'all can charge whatever you want in terms of your commission structure. You might try charging them a flat fee to do it versus a percentage. Again, cutting expenses is going to be center stage for them. So, maybe $1,000 or $2,000 less than what 3% would work out to be might be the game changer. And there are, remember, specifically contracts for FSBO'S that ensure you get paid. So I've reviewed those in the past, but I think actually, coincidentally, the association sent out an email and a post about that today regarding the agreement between broker and client. So if you are going to do a limited time listing, there are contracts that you can fill out that does ensure that you get paid along with the other side, the person that brings the buyer. All right, be persistent and consistent. Like anything in sales, you're not going to close a sale with just one touch, okay? If you reach out to two unique FSBO'S each week, I mean, just the law of averages, that is going to turn into at least 4 listings per year. But you got to be consistent. You can't do it for 2 weeks and it's not working, so you just drop it. I mean, between these guys and expires, it just doesn't work that way. It's all about the last person standing, right? And just remember that people are always willing to pay to be less inconvenienced. And man, I gotta think that is what is going on today. I mean, I don't know how they're coordinating showings and qualifying buyers. I mean, what resources does the individual have to do that if they're not using a realtor? So, I mean, they just got to be pulling their hair out. And then, it's always going to be more effective if you call out exactly what you're trying to do to help them. So if we know their pain points are going to be issues with showings, home is overpriced, how to qualify buyers, your marketing and all of your conversations should speak to that, right? Not how you can stage the home necessarily. I mean, if that's not going to be a big deal. It's all about relieving the pressure that they're now facing. Okay. Circle prospecting. So many of you have probably heard this term before. This is the idea that if there is an open house or a coming soon or another listing, you then draw a circle with, let's say, a mile radius around that client, and you prospect around that client. So it doesn't have to be your listing either. In fact, many times it will not be. So, pop open the MLS, look in your zip code, and look for listings, open houses, and coming soons, especially coming soons, because that is not information that the general public ever has access to. And what you're going to do is, to my second point, you could create a flyer, you could door knock, whatever, but you're going to try and, generate interest in selling that person's home because there are other listings, open houses, and coming soons on the market now. So why is that a big deal? Because when springtime comes, people are curious as to who's putting their home on the market. And because a couple of reasons. I mean, they want to know who's coming and going. They want to know what homes are selling for. But thirdly, it may be what they need to get permission in an indirect way to list their own home. Because there's that fear of missing out, right? So if your neighbor's listing their home, the immediate thought is, well, what do they know that I don't know? I've been thinking about listing my home. Maybe it's time. All right. And this is another instance where you're going to have to get in front of as many people as you can to get someone to bite, right? So you might leave a flyer that says 123 Main Street is up for sale, or 123 Main Street is about to be up for sale. It's coming soon. Could yours be next? Contact me today for a free home evaluation. So you'll notice that it just in this 2 sentences, I told them what was going to happen, and I created what they call a call to action, which is contact me today for what? A free home evaluation. All right, so it doesn't have to be something you overthink. It could be something as simple as this. So either ask JC to create something, or go to Breakthrough Broker and create something, or create something yourself. And if it's nothing more than stapling your business card to this thing and leaving it on the doorstep, man, do it. Weather is nice right now. You can actually get out and do that. All right. And so, or you could drop off a list of coming soons or homes that are for sale, your 1-page resume, business card, stick that all in a nice envelope or in a folder and leave it. All right. I would not list the prices of homes that have sold, because that's a slippery slope, by the way. Unless you're working with the client directly, we really shouldn't be doing that. So Texas is a non-disclosure state for a reason. So you can't just broadcast what the neighbor's home sold for, all right, unless you're in a relationship with that client, okay? But there is lots of stuff that we have access to that the general public does not.
Hey,
okay?
Brad.
Yeah.
If I could, I might add a little something too. When we were doing investing full time,
yep,
we would actually approach people in neighborhoods where active renovations were going on.
Yep, exactly.
So in other words, if there's a house flipper work in that neighborhood, we would work that neighborhood in our case to try to find homes to rehab, but this would be a great place to find listings too.
For sure.
A lot of these people want to move too.
Yep, absolutely. And I actually, that's a great point, Jeff. And I actually allude to that in a little bit as well. So same line of thinking, absolutely. Yep, and then you could bring collateral from other open houses, right? So because not every neighbor is going to go to their own neighbor's open house. And so, make it easy for them, bring the stuff that they're missing out on. All right, so the third way to get listings is what I call driving for dollars. And so this kind of talks about what you mentioned, Jeff, which is, and don't drive so far out of your way that it doesn't make sense, but, repair trucks that are parked outside, that is sometimes an indication of people wanting to move. You never know. I mean, what happened a couple of weeks ago with the freeze and people's pipes bursting, people are fed up. I mean, they might just be at a point where, look, I've wanted to get out of here forever. I'm going to get my flooring fixed and I'm going to put this thing on the market. So these folks are ripe for the picking. Garage sales. So they are either having a garage sale because they want to declutter or they are planning to move. Those are the only 2 reasons, because no one's making money at a garage sale. So these are great opportunities on a Saturday or Sunday to drive around, get out, poke around, bring your business card, please dress appropriately, and just say, hey, are are you decluttering? Are you moving? And depending on the answer, I would still hand them your business card, and see, they might actually want to move. All right, and then vacant homes, another great prospecting idea. List of non-owner occupied homes. So you can find these on REMINE, and I'm going to go into REMINE in a second. But that's one of the filters. You can do heavy lifting and go to the appraisal website, I suppose, or go to Realist, but it's easier to go to REMINE. And then weekends are going to be ideal for this. Weekends for any of this stuff, by the way, is going to be ideal. You know, people are beat down after work. They're just more responsive to you on the weekends as you're driving around. Okay. All right. So those are the top three. I got one, maybe two bonuses. So Zillow rentals. So you are looking for, and this is kind of a twofer, because you're looking for landlords that are beat down by being a landlord. And again, because of what happened a couple of weeks ago, especially if they're absentee landlords and they don't live here, they are going to be very frustrated with having to deal with broken pipes and things like that. And then secondly, you are trying to hit up as well the tenants in the home as potential buyers. Okay, so let's go back to Zillow. Now, I hate Zillow, but I'm using them a lot today. Sorry about that. So let's say you're a customer that wants to rent a home. So you can go into rent and you'll see houses for rent. Okay, now these typically move fast. So man, look at how many are in Arlington. So these are not going to stay on the market very long, theoretically. All right, they just don't. But are these homes that are owned by folks that are wanting to get out? So you will notice a commonality in everything that I've presented today, and it is to prevent the horrible cardinal sin of real estate from happening, which is I've run out of people to call. So all of these things, you're never going to run out of people to call. I mean, the expireds alone, which I know we didn't cover, but here are all the rentals. There's 3 pages of them. You can't tell me that there's one beat down landlord that wants to sell, right? So don't be afraid to use Zillow in that regard to find those landlords. Okay, bonus number 2 is REMINE. All right, so you want to weed out only those who are currently searching online for real estate related things. Now, as a refresher, I'm going to go to REMINE. I did a class on REMINE, by the way, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time here with regards to how I got to this screen. The video tells you. However, here I am in Arlington again, no filters yet, okay? So when I talked earlier about people that are owners but don't live here, here's that tile, absentee. Okay, so if you click on that, you want either absentee in-state, absentee out-of-state. Let's do absentee, let's do both. Apply. And here are several in Arlington. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, try and find more. Yeah, that was a ton. So all those circles represent clusters of houses that meet that criteria, by the way. So, so let me take this off real quick, because what I'm talking about today is the seller score. So what you're trying to do with REMINE, and by the way, this is free to y'all. It used to cost money, but it is now included in our board membership. So REMINE has found a way to match up anyone's IP address with how they're searching for various things. In other words, all the, this site uses cookies, please accept. Okay, well, that's what's following you and I around the web. And if any of these homeowners are going to real estate specific websites with a high degree of frequency, then Remine has an algorithm that says, well, they must be interested in buying or selling a home. And so then that equates to a seller score they apply to it. So in my mind, I wouldn't want to do anything other than high or medium. Let's click apply. And now out of all those homes, you're going to get the ones that truly are motivated. Okay, so there's 9 alone here. It's thinking, sorry. So if you go to these homes, so let's just click on, here's one of them, right? Look on the right-hand side of my screen. You might have to move your Zoom pane. This person, obviously it's off market. This is the estimated value of the home. They have $67,000 estimated equity and they're a medium score. Now, if you click on this, it will show you all sorts of key data about the home, least of which is the contact information of the owner. How do you get that? Scroll down, go to associated people, and there you have the phone number and email of the people that own the home. Now, mind you, DNC stands for do not call, so you cannot call them, but they do have an email address. Okay, there's several here. So now that's if you want to do it that way, but that's what everybody's going to do. What I would do, perhaps additionally, is go to the home, leave a packet of information, maybe knock on the door, and use that old, deal, like I said earlier about the FSBO'S, and say, look, your neighbor down the home or down the street is about to put their home on the market. Just wanted to see if you might be interested in listing their home. The chances are pretty good they're going to talk to you because they're already online looking at real estate related things. And there's got to be a reason, right? So this is a medium sell score. The high sell scores are probably going to be a slam dunk. So Remine is a wonderful, wonderful tool for that. It takes a 5,000 card mailing list down to 100 and makes it very, very strategic. So anyway, those are the top 3 plus a couple of bonuses by which to get more listings this season. Anybody have any questions or input or comments? No? Okay. All right. Well, getting listings is a little bit harder than getting buyers because, people need to think about who's going to represent them on selling their $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 home. So they're a little bit more stealth. So you got to kind of weed them out. And that's why I wanted to go over what I went over today. But if you make any one of these things part of your processes by which you get business, man, I always think of real estate in 1-year increments. If you started doing any one of these today, fast forward to March 18th, 2022, it's ridiculous to think you're not going to have a couple of closings because of doing this for an entire year. And there's very little money you have to spend to do any of this. So as always, I'm here to help you craft a plan if you need it. But if there's not anything else, then we'll conclude today and we will see y'all next week, same time. Thanks, guys.